Back in the U.S.S.R. is a 1968 song by the Beatles. It is credited to the songwriting partnership Lennon-McCartney, but written by Paul McCartney. The song opens the double-disc album The Beatles, also known as the White Album, and then segues into Dear Prudence. Overview: the song opens and closes with the sounds of a jet aircraft flying overhead and refers to a dreadful flight back to the U.S.S.R. From Miami Beach in the United States, on board a BOAC airplane. Propelled throughout by McCartney's up-tempo piano playing and lead guitar riffs, the lyrics tell of the singer's great happiness on returning home, where the Ukraine girls really knock me out, and the Moscow girls make me sing and shout, and are invited to come and keep your comrade warm. He also looks forward to hearing the sound of balalaikas ringing out. Writing and composition: Paul McCartney wrote the song while the Beatles were in Rishikesh, India, studying transcendental meditation. The title of the song is a tribute to Chuck Berry's Back in the USA, while the chorus and background vocals pay homage to the Beach Boys' California Girls. Mike Love of the Beach Boys also attended the retreat in Rishikesh at the same time, and he has stated in interviews that, in order to make the song sound more like a Beach Boys number, he encouraged McCartney to talk about the girls all around Russia, the Ukraine and Georgia in the lyrics. In 2013, Love noted, "I was at the breakfast table when Paul McCartney came down with his acoustic guitar playing Back in the U.S.S.R. I said, you ought to put something in about all the girls around Russia, and he did." The song also contains an allusion to Hoagy Carmichael's and Stuart Gorell's Georgia on My Mind. McCartney sings about the female population of the Soviet Republic of Georgia right after the Ukraine girls, and Moscow girls. McCartney thought that when he listened to the Beach Boys, it sounded like California, so he decided to write a song that sounded like the U.S.S.R. The title was inspired in part by the I'm Backing Britain campaign that had been endorsed by British Prime Minister Harold Wilson. It has been suggested that McCartney twisted that into I'm Back in the U.S.S.R. In his 1984 interview with Playboy, McCartney said, "I wrote that as a kind of Beach Boys parody. And Back in the USA was a Chuck Berry song, so it kinda took off from there. I just liked the idea of Georgia girls and talking about places like the Ukraine as if they were California, you know? It was also Hands Across the Water, which I'm still conscious of. 'Cause they like us out there, even though the bosses in the Kremlin may not. The kids from there do. And that to me is very important for the future of the race." Recording: 5 takes were recorded of the backing track, featuring McCartney on drums, Harrison on electric guitar, and Lennon on Fender Bass 6. Take 5 was chosen as best. The exact order of overdues is not clear. McCartney recorded a full drum performance on track 2, with no other instrumental contributions by Lennon or Harrison. On track 3, McCartney played bass while Harrison played the bass 6, sometimes doubling McCartney's bass line and sometimes playing full chords. While they were playing their parts, Lennon overdubbed snare on the offbeats for the entire duration of the song without a single deviation or fill. This performance was basically duplicated on track 1, possibly wiping the original backing track in the process. On track 4, McCartney contributed a piano performance, while Lennon and Harrison provided more bass and electric guitar. With all 4 tracks, a reduction was made into take 6, combining tracks 1 and 3 into a single track and tracks 3 and 4 into another. On the remaining 2 tracks, McCartney recorded his lead vocal double-tracked in places while Lennon and Harrison contributed hand claps and Beach Boys-styled backing vocals. Internal struggles The Beatles sessions allowed the 4 members to work on separate projects at the same time and, as a result, kept tensions to a minimum. However, tempers flared during the recording session on August 22, 1968, and Ringo Starr walked out and announced that he had quit. Back in the U.S.S.R. and Dear Prudence, the first 2 tracks of the album, were recorded without Starr, with McCartney primarily responsible for the drum parts. McCartney's drums are most prominent in the mix, but both John Lennon and George Harrison also recorded drum parts for Back in the U.S.S.R. The Beach Boys played the song when Ringo Starr joined them for a live show. It is the only time he is known to have performed the song. However, Starr appeared in the animated song clip shown on the Beatles' Rock Band. After the other Beatles urged him to return, Starr rejoined the group almost 2 weeks later on September 4, 1968, when he participated in the filming of a promotional video for Hey Jude. George Harrison covered his drum kit in flowers to welcome him back. During a break in the filming of the Hey Jude video, Mark Sinden recalls Lennon playing a song on his acoustic guitar. "Everyone went wow. Filming started before we could ask what it was. When it was later released, we realized it was Back in the U.S.S.R. Release: Back in the U.S.S.R. was released by Apple as a 1969 single in Scandinavia, backed with Don't Pass Me By. A British single of the song was also released by Parlophone as a single in 1976. It featured the song Twist and Shout on side B. Controversy: during the 1960s, the Beatles were officially derided in the USSR as the belch of Western culture, and in the 1980s McCartney was refused permission to play there. According to the Moscow Times, when McCartney finally got to play the song at his Back in the World tour in Moscow's Red Square in May 2003 at the age of 60, the crowd went wild. When asked about the song before the concert, McCartney said he had known little about the Soviet Union when he wrote it. "It was a mystical land then," he said. "It's nice to see the reality. I always suspected that people had big hearts. Now I know that's true. Finally we got to do that one here," he said after the song. Political reception, like Revolution and Piggies, Back in the USSR prompted immediate responses from the New Left and Far Right, who claimed the group were pro-Soviet. As further evidence of the Beatles' supposed pro-Soviet sentiments, the John Birch Society magazine cited the song. Back in the USSR shocked many conservatives in the United States, because the song appeared to be praising the U.S.'s enemy, the North Vietnamese. The line "You don't know how lucky you are, boys" left many anti-communist groups speechless. Personnel: Paul McCartney, a Euro double-tracked vocal, backing vocal, bass, lead guitar, piano, hand claps, drums, percussion; John Lennon, a Euro backing vocal, lead guitar, 6-string bass, hand claps, drums, percussion; George Harrison, a Euro backing vocal, lead guitar, bass, hand claps, drums, percussion; George Martin, a Euro piano. Personnel per Ian MacDonald and Mark Lewis on Variations. On the Beatles album, the end of Back in the USSR is cross-faded with the start of the next track, Dear Prudence. On the Beatles' 1967 Euro 1970, Back in the USSR fades out before the crossfade of Dear Prudence starts. This is also the case on the remixed version of the song From Love. Cover versions. In 1968, Ramsey Lewis covered Back in the USSR on his album Mother Nature's Son along with other songs from the Beatles. In 1969, Chubby Checker's cover version charted on the Billboard Hot 100. Also in 1969, John Fred and his Playboy Band released it as a single and on their 1970 album Love My Soul. In 1979, the punk group Dead Kennedys recorded a live version of the song that was released in 2004 on Live at the Def Club. In 1979, Elton John sang the song in the opening credits of To Russia with Elton, a film about a concert given in Moscow, Russia, by the rock singer. In 1982, the song was recorded and released by Jan and Dean on their album One Summer Night Live. In 1984, actress Sue Pollard performed the song on the BBC series The Laughter Show. In 1986, the Kings singers on their album Beatles Collection. In 1987, Billy Joel covered the song on his Live in the Soviet Union album Kohthept. In 1987, Dutch producers Joachim Fluitsma and Eric Van Tij released a reworked cover version as B-Mania. In 1992, the Russian band Baba Yaga released a cover of the song on their album Baba Yaga. In 1993, Finnish band Leningrad Cowboys performed a live version on their album Live in Province. In the 2001 film Heartbreakers, Sigourney Weaver performed the song. In 2006, Lemmy of Motor Paragraph Red recorded a version for the Butchering the Beatles compilation. Parody band Beatlika recorded a mashup of the song and Metallica's Blackened entitled Blackened the USSR. On their 2007 album Sgt. Hetfield's Motor Breath Pub Band. Tanwa Suhoti covered it on his 2009 cover album Modern Times Rock 'n' Roll. Amanda Overmure performed the song on American Idol and released a studio version. The Rutles song We've Arrived is a pastiche of this song. Type O Negative have performed the song live, numerous times, throughout their 20-year career. In 2012, Molly Hatchet recorded the song for the tribute album Top Musicians Play the Beatles. Notes. References. External links, Allmusic Review, Alan W. Polak's notes on Back in the U.S.S.R., full lyrics of this song at Metro Lyrics.